Welcome to the Refine and Shine, the podcast dedicated to mastering the art of continuous improvement and optimizing every aspect of your life. I'm Angelina Rivera, your host, and together we'll uncover the secrets to refining our lives, our habits, and our processes to unlock our inner brilliance. Join us on Refine and Shine, where we'll delve deep into achieving more in life without the burnout and without all the stress. This podcast is your platform for a more fulfilling life through continuous improvement and personal growth. In each episode, I and a diverse array of guests discuss practical strategies for up-leveling every aspect of your life. From developing good habits and organizing your space to refining your mindset and personal goals, we're going to explore it all. Our guests share personal stories about the systems they've developed or systems they've used and the tweaks they've made in their lives when refinement was needed, allowing them to truly shine. Listen to Refine and Shine to learn how you can implement continuous improvement techniques in your daily routine, develop and maintain healthy habits that lead to success and satisfaction, organize your life to reduce the stress and increase your productivity, foster a growth mindset that propels you to new heights. My mission is to inspire you to take bold action, make positive changes, and become the best version of yourself. Whether you're aiming to elevate your career, nurture meaningful relationships, or enhance your overall well-being, Refine and Shine is your guiding light. With over 25 years of experience in continuous improvement, I help businesses streamline their processes, establish efficient work areas, and implement standard work protocols. I have trained over 600 individuals and teams in process improvement, optimizing workflows, and enhancing overall operational efficiency. Tune in every week as we embark on an enlightening journey, exploring paths to refinement and illuminating the way to shine in every area of our lives. Subscribe now and join us on this journey to polish your life and let your best self shine through. Thank you for joining us on Refine and Shine. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Refine and Shine podcast. I am so excited for my guest today. We have been in the same coaching arena. He is a fellow podcaster, and I was just excited when I first met him. I was like, he is a person of interest, and I knew he'd be a wonderful person to have on my podcast. My guest today is Jeff Williams. He is the founder and owner of Merchant Commodities, which is a building materials wholesale supplier who covers the nation. They're nationwide. He has been in construction and development for over 35 years. He has a wife and a partner. Partner, 2 daughters, 3 grandkids. He loves horses. He loves hot rod cars, and he loves to travel and living a big life. And he's also the host of the podcast, The Construction Cowboy Show with Jeff Williams. So thank you, Jeff, for being on my show today.
Angela, thank you so much. Appreciate it. And, Refine and Shine is perfect. It fits good for me, and I kind of fit right into that. So appreciate that. Had a delightful life. So
yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, well, no, I think it's really cool. I don't know if you're, and I don't need this in an ageist way, but I think you're just remarkable. And if you don't mind sharing with the audience, how old are you right now?
I just turned 70 yesterday. So I've got 7 decades of fun and excitement in my life, but it also challenges. And, I lived that up and down roller coaster life a lot. And I'll take a few seconds, if you don't mind. I'll share a little bit about the cowboy part of me and how that all come about. And so I grew up with a father that traveled all over the country and did a lot of different things. And he was a farmer. And so I understand what farming and ranching was all about as a really youngster. He loved cowboys and cowboy boots and buckles and hats and all that stuff and horses. And we had horses growing up. But then, as you know, we grow up and we go a different direction. And I ended up we born and raised in Southern Indiana, moved to Chicago and got married and spent some time, got into business suits and all the fancy things and all the corporate world and the corporate boardrooms. And then I went out west and launched a business out there as a broker business that you introduced to. And we started out in Nevada, and then we moved to Wyoming, where it is currently. But the cowboy thing, I came back to me when I got out west in Nevada and in Wyoming and saw the open range horses. And I started getting around the horses and riding again, and started dressing cowboy, and put away the suits and tie and the fancy clothes, and just got really back down to my grassroots and my love for just nature, and hiking and all kinds of things, and riding, and it just become a brand and a theme for me. Everybody started noticing and saying, "Hey, I got back to Chicago a little bit." And they go, "What is this cowboy thing?" And one of the guys was making fun of me and calling me Woody, the Toy Story.
Hmm.
And so I've just had a lot of fun with it, but it's a brand and a thing that sticks with people. They don't remember my name because it's so common, but they remember the guy with the cowboy hat, and it's stuck. So, and then talking with Jordan and working out the podcasting part, I've just had a blast. We branded that. We branded the website Western, and I have a strong belief. I'm a godly man and believe in my God and Jesus, and we try to do right by all people, and kind and considerate and respectful, but also we're firm and strong, and we'll fight for what we believe in, and stand for what we believe in, and that's the American country way in a sense. It's that it's no different than the construction worker or the rancher, the horse guy. We're all kind of rugged and rough around the edges anyway. And so, but we're also respectful and polite to people's property and things, and life in general, and so respectful to you and what you're trying to accomplish and things of that nature. And so that's the short side of me. There's a lot more to me. I love cars. I've built my own hot rod and from ground up, and just had a marvelous life, and got a great partner. She's just been with me for 35 years coming up, and just happy as I'll get out right now. Now, it could be worse. I could be giving you all that, dark and dread side of my life to some degree, but it's not worth going back and looking at. So there you go.
Well, I love that. I love that you are like this brand, right? You're the cowboy, and I think
Mm.
that every single call that we've been on, you've always had your cowboy hat on. So,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
think that's pretty cool. What I love about what you're doing is that you've been in this construction, you've been in this rugged, like the horsebacking riding, like you said,
mm,
it could be a rugged life, but the hot rods, which I absolutely think is amazing. But what you're doing too is you're still making you're not done. You're not slowing
yeah,
down. Like you just started your podcast earlier this year, if I remember.
yeah.
Um, and so that's pretty cool. Like to be, 69, just turned 70, and you're doing a podcast, which goes to show like you're still living a full life. And I think that that's really amazing.
Well, I think that, yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. But I've always enjoyed learning and challenging myself to be, you know, you have to be, and I'm going to say this respectfully, you have to be stupid in order to learn something to be smarter. And then once you master that, then you start to have wisdom with it, and leverage the knowledge and understanding of it, because it's dynamic, it's constantly changing, right? And so in order to communicate with people and human beings, you have to have the knowledge and the wisdom and the diverse conversation and dialogue, and you have to be able to familiar yourself into a language and a communication, and understand the different personality types and the demeanors of human beings, because they can be kind of tricky. They're not like the horses. The horses already, they're already sensing the feelings and the emotions 10 over,
Hmm.
and they understand how you feel and know. They'll let you also know how they feel and back and forth. But humans are a little bit more trickier. They hide a little bit better, and you have to be able to have a chance to kind of get in there and spend some time with them. But I love sharing and educating, passing it forward, uh, all those kind of things, and help people build their business. It's amazing. I've had a great opportunity in my consulting business over the years to help people expand their business. Some listen, some don't. That's okay. It didn't bother me at all. But to help people grow and expand their business, and find, and it can be anything from finance to just operations or process or procedures, or just something like what you do is help them organize,
Hmm.
and just, I call it getting their act together. And
Hmm.
so I think it's all the tools. There's many times I've done consulting, and I've brought other relationships in and partners into that consulting realm, like yourself, that specialize in an area that can maximize my clients' production, right? It
Hmm.
may not even be I do. So again, that's partnerships, that's networking, that's relationships, and it's fostering knowledge and in the best way. So there we go. So
Well, what I love about what you're saying, and I think it's so important, and I've said this before on the podcast, I think numerous times, is that when we stop learning and stop growing, then we kind of die inside. And you're continuing to learn, you're helping others. I love that you have this consulting business where you go out there and you're helping people in the construction industry and all of these other things, and that you're bringing in partnerships because I think it's so important because you are a connector. You have connected with different people, and it's because you have a lot of experience,
yeah,
and you're out there putting yourself forward, and I think that that's so important. And one of the things that people fear is they fear, like, they want to just stay in a bubble and they don't want to step
yeah,
outside their shell. And when we don't do that, I think it's a disservice. Like, God has put a lot of great things in us, and he makes us a very unique person, and so we will people won't know who you are unless you go out there and show them who you are, right?
yeah, absolutely. I've been really blessed. I laugh about it and I laugh at myself. I can't hold a job, so don't try to hire me for a job because I can't hold it. And what I mean by that is every 2 or 3 years, I master what I'm doing and I move on. And I've spent several years, many years in finance and lending and brokering and capital funds and all that stuff. So I understand the language, understand lending and investing and capitalization and all that. But then to add it into the building trades and wholesaling materials and doing material takeoffs and taking a set of blueprints and doing all that. And I've learned that part of the business and brokering and gold and silver and oil and all these things. Uh, people think, well, you don't have enough time. Yeah, you've got all the time in the world to learn as much as you possibly can and build it around your life. And I just happen to want to learn everything I can get my hands on. I mean, my father was truck driver farmer, and I learned how the transport industry worked,
Hmm.
things of that nature. And so I grew up starting to realize that my expertise was learning skill sets in every industry that I could get my hands on. And but I found a place that I really enjoy doing what I'm doing right now, right? I love the building construction because it's always changing. I love barndominiums and stuff, bills, and all that kind of fun stuff. But at the end of the day, uh, I love serving customers and providing a service and going the extra mile and doing the hard stuff that nobody else wants to do. And so here's a real kind of a chunk of advice.
Hmm.
Do what no one else wants to do and master that, and you'll be the king of the road, right? In other words, take the hardest thing you can imagine, master it and learn it and do it, and then now all of a sudden they're going to need you at some point in time. I know that you've got some government job background, and that's hard working in government. It really is.
Hmm.
Uh, there's so much demand called upon you, right?
Hmm.
And the ethics and all the other things that come along with that. And so I've had a little taste of that, not very much, but I understand where that is and the liability in making those kind of mistakes with that. And I commend you for being in that arena and learning and being part of that, and then not really coming out of it, but just making a a side path for yourself. I think it's really great.
Oh, thank you for that. I think that, it's kind of the same thing that you want. It's like, that you have just, shared with us is that once you master something, you're like, okay, I'm good at this, or, I've really mastered this and like I want to learn more. And that's kind of where my like you can stay in a bubble or you can go out there and expand. And I feel like God has been asking me to expand and help in a different, I've been in manufacturing 30, I'm gonna age myself, almost 30 years, 28 years I've
Mhm.
been in manufacturing. And so, I mean, right out of high school, I started working in a manufacturing
Mhm.
facility and
Yep.
worked my way up, and different things, started as an intern, and then, different things like that. And as you go through and, been in the R&D, and then you go into, I did a little bit of construction, durability products and roofing
Mhm.
and siding and things like that. And then I went
Yeah.
into like the helmets, like the
Yeah.
rest, like the Top Gun helmets, the people that
Sure.
you wear for the
Yeah.
aviation.
Yeah.
And then I
Sure.
went into the Department of Defense, and so it was like military vehicles and all of these things, and it's like you keep growing. It's like, hey, what can I learn? What can I like?
Right.
Hey, put me like I'm always like one of those people like put me in, coach. I want to learn. Like, and
Yeah.
even if I don't know it, like how you said, I want to know it. Like I want to learn it, and
Yeah.
I will put everything in. It's a passion of mine to like figure it out and put
Yeah.
everything that I can into it, because then it takes a different perspective. Like I've never been a mechanic. I've never, but I can figure things out and I can ask those
Right.
questions. And it's like you can ask those questions by understanding the processes. I don't know,
Yeah.
I can't diagnose an engine trouble, but I can tell you how to get the parts to you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's a skill set that
Mhm.
I've learned
Um,
is like a just in time, like just like construction, like you got your blueprint, and you have to get your roofing materials and your lumber, and the
mhm.
foundation has to be laid first, and there's a timeline for everything. And if you're really good at your timeline and you got good suppliers, you
Mhm.
can build you can build the whatever
Yeah.
you're building in a adequate time. So knowing those things I think is important, and I think it's a skill that people some people have it and some don't, and but if you have it, it's like it's such a great skill to have, and so I think that's pretty amazing. I also love barn dominiums. I really want one really bad.
Oh, they're fun. Yeah, absolutely. Uh, I think, I'll mention this a little bit, but the thing I found early on when I was really young, actually in my older teens, is that I had a guy tell me, he said, Jeff, he said, don't be afraid. Don't ever be afraid to not know what you don't know. He said, you have to step into it. In other words, you can't be afraid to challenge yourself not to step into it. And I think so many people are so afraid that they're going to step out of their bubble and something's going to blow up and they're going to go broke or they're going to lose money or they're going to make a mistake and it's going to be tragic or whatever. And my best answer is go make as many mistakes as you possibly can, ruin yourself and make some people mad, disappoint people, and you learn and you become so wise in wisdom and you'll grow so much more faster than if you sit back and wait 40 years and go, oh man, I wish I would have, could have, did have done, right?
Mhm.
We tell ourselves all that. And could I have picked a different path? Well, probably could have, yeah, right. Many times. But two things lead me: myself, my choices, but also God and my guidance, looking to God. And
Mhm.
I truly believe that there's a path already made for me, and I try to follow that. Uh, but I tell people, please don't be afraid to challenge yourself and take the risk. Risk is just a scary word, right?
Mhm.
Don't be afraid of it. And I've noticed you're really good at you're risk adverse, but you're willing to take the right risk, and I think
Mhm.
that's remarkable for you.
Oh, thank you
Mm,
for that. And
mm,
what I love looking at risk, and I love that when we look at risk, and like I help people do risk assessments. I do supply chain risk assessments.
mhm.
Your all of these types of things. I think it's important to understand what the risk is, but just understand what it is. And like I do like I can do like a failure modes effect analysis. Like if we have this happen, what's the worst thing that can happen, right? And rate it on the scale. But
Yeah,
what the thing is, I think is important is that we all have to take a little bit of risk. And if we don't take risk, we're gonna slowly die inside. Like,
yeah,
and the Bible says what 365 times. So one day every, do not be afraid in
yeah,
some type of form.
yeah,
And I think that as what we're called to do, if there's something that we've been called to do and it's been put on our heart and it's something that we keep feeling and feeling, we got that's the
yeah.
nudge that God's saying, hey, take action. And I'm a sports fan. I love Michael Jordan.
Mhm.
And he failed over and over again. He didn't
Yeah,
make the right shot, right? And over, but he kept practicing and practicing
yeah,
and practicing to able to succeed. And I think that every time we may fail, but that's just a lesson.
yeah,
And when we make mistakes, there wouldn't be erasers on pencils if life was perfect, right? There's only one
yeah,
person that walked this world that was perfect, and that was Jesus.
yeah.
And so the mistakes are okay as long as we
Amen.
take the lessons, we learn from them, and then we okay, hey, how do I pivot? How do I tweak this? Or how do I, change this up a little bit? And I think as long as we take it as a lesson, then it's okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. Can reiterate amen for that, for sure. Uh, but you know, I there's so much that's going through my head right now. I'm going to have to stop and take a break because I just don't understand where I'm going with it all. But I think that life is just, it's grand if
Mhm.
you choose for it to be grand. And so much, so much uh, information and confusion in the world right now is going on, and everybody gets into the news and the media. And folks, you just got to step back. You got to
Mhm.
get away from it. You got to go find yourself and get some peace and go for a walk, and you know find yourself and balance yourself, and I find myself so many times, it's doesn't have to I don't have to be riding a horse. I can just be walking beside the horse, and get the same benefit and the value out of it. But for the most part, it's peace and serenity that you build inside yourself that clears your mind and keeps the world exactly where it needs to be
Mhm.
outside you, so you can manage, not control, but manage your thoughts. And, you know, if we don't manage our thoughts and what's coming in and going out and all those things and the words we speak, we're just not doing justice to ourselves.
Mhm.
So much strength is about how we project ourselves, our respect for ourselves, and some of the silliest things I've seen for the last couple of years. Uh, it's just it's just not, humanity's going the wrong direction. I'm telling you. So anyway, I'll pitch it back to you.
Is your business constantly busy, but still inefficient? If your team is working hard but things keep falling through the cracks, it's not a people problem, it's a process problem. This is where Refined Consulting comes in. I help businesses simplify operations and build systems that actually work. Here's how I do it, in just a few days. First, we get clarity. We identify where your time, energy, and money are being wasted. Then, we map your process, step by step, so you can actually see what's happening. Next, we simplify. We cut out delays, redundancies, and anything that's slowing you down. Then we build a system your team can follow, so everything doesn't depend on you. And finally, we implement, so you walk away with a clear plan and real results. No more guessing, no more chaos, just better systems. If you're ready to streamline your business and get your time back, go to refineconsultingllc.com and book your free discovery call. Let's refine your processes and help you shine.
No, I appreciate that. One of the things I wanted to talk about, you let's talk a little bit about your podcast. So your
Sure.
podcast is fairly new, but it's doing really great. And so what is
Yeah.
your podcast about?
Well, I appreciate that. It's really about the construction world, but it's about bringing in experts, and I've got so much inventory of experts in my world that I bring them in and introduce them and let them speak to them. And so example, most people don't. This will have some relation to what you do. Most people don't realize that employee engagement, whether it be a wall panel manufacturing plant that's processing and building walls inside a factory, right? You know what I'm
Mhm.
talking about. There's employee engagement, there's employee communication, there's all kinds of challenges just within the production of that material. And it's not about the sticks and bricks, it's not about the nails and bolts and the equipment. It's about the humans and the ability to understand, are they doing their job right? Or do they understand what's expected of them of their job, right? Or is it being
Mhm.
communicated well by the owners and the management? So I had one of my good friends, Mark James, come on, and he specializes in that kind of culture and mission statements and building around good communication for employees and employee retention and engagement, right? And so it was a great podcast, right? And it works for construction companies, whether they got job crew sites and things or whatever. Uh, Another one was real estate, commercial real estate and development, right? Had a real estate realtor come on, good friend of mine and business partner, uh, Bill Caden, and from Caden Commercial, and he came in and spoke on what it really takes to, get a good financed and invested project off the ground, and what the do's and don'ts and the policies and procedures and all the government, permitting and all that stuff that comes into it. And so it's about Well, I answer it this way. It's about getting the experts come in, share what they know, and then people just take bits and pieces from that and they learn from that and can go back into their own business or their own realm of what they're doing. So a lot of the information is abroad, so it can cross over into other businesses
Mhm.
and really provide good, valuable information. And so it's taken off like a rocket, like property management. I've got another one coming out in property management. Whether it be single family or multifamily, whatever it may be. And so I just picked different topics, and so there would be some finance and some things of that nature coming down the pipe, uh, architectural design work. Angela, I don't have to worry about running out of topics. I can tell you that right now. So and experts, but and I love having fun with it. I can even, I'd love to have you on my show. Part of it is that organization skills and doing, and again, I know just enough about what you do to ruin it for you. So I'll just leave it at there. But I think that CEOs and management and middle management and employees, they all need to hear, and followers of the podcast need to hear what you're doing. And so I'm really excited. I've reached into 35 countries. My numbers are really huge. And I was shocked. I have to be honest, I was just shocked it took off. And JamX has been a great, partner in getting that done with Jordan and them. And I'm thrilled to have that done. And it's just continued to grow. And so I'm learning. I didn't know a thing about podcasting or speaking to the camera myself, and it took a little while. And with my medical medicines that I take, my vocal cords, as you can tell, I'm kind of squeaky and raspy, and I've had to work on that a little bit and strengthen that up. And uh, it's just fun. And my wife, she goes, "What else? What else are you going to learn that I have to deal with?" I thought, "Just get back out of the way, babe. I'm going." So my daughter's even amazed. She goes, "Wow, crazy."
No, I think that that's so cool. I love that it's about a bunch of things, right? It's about
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
I think that as you're talking, I'm like, well, this is a good thing because like if somebody wants to learn how to properly invest in commercial property, then that's
Mhm.
something they need to hear. And even if you have like a business and how do you
Yeah,
talk to your employees? How do they know what the key performance indicators are? How are you treating them?
yeah,
Those are all important things. It's all important. And I think that what people don't understand is there's so many podcasts out there, right? There
yeah,
is,
yeah.
but just go out there and listen
Hmm.
and go and listen to a bunch of different ones because every one of them has a message that's going to resonate for you.
Yeah,
It's going to
yeah.
resonate in some shape or form. And like I'm really excited to listen to your podcast because like I want to get a barn dominium, I want to build, I want
Yeah,
to invest
yeah.
in commercial property. I want to, property management's important too because that's an investment that you can do.
Mhm.
And I think that, one of the best things that you can do, I've heard this several times, one of the best things you can ever invest in, it's not a car, it's property, real estate,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And you may have some highs and lows and you may, the market goes up and down, but it's still very important and still a good investment as long as you do it properly and keep it up and maintenance and all of those types of things I think is important. So that's my goal this year is to buy some type of property. Not sure what we're going to do with it, but I know I want to buy property, and so that's one of the things I'm working on.
Well, and I'll give you a little bit of a trick. It's usually a little bit more expensive, but it's well worth it. So, uh, buildings are great. Having a shed or a house or whatever on a property is great. But one of the greatest advantages is just finding you some land on some water, or a river or a creek or whatever it may be. Anything that's got a little bit of land, a little bit of water, and a little bit of forestry, uh, and you hold on to it, it'll make you money someday really well, and then you can be able to develop it or do whatever you want to with it or sell it off or however. But land, West Coast has still got land for sale, and Chicago downtown's a little lean, in that sense, but wherever you're at. But buying some land, and it doesn't have to be a lot. It can be an acre, it can be 10 acres, it can be 100, it can be 100,000. But the point is that it gets you started.
Mhm,
It's a little bit simpler, and sometimes you can buy land from the government,
mhm.
nickels on a dime or pennies on a dime. So. Uh, But again, it takes an education, and you got to dig in and learn a little bit. And so, yeah. So,
Yeah. That's the goal, is some type of
yeah,
land, is for
yeah,
sure, is the
yeah.
property that we want. Um, and then we're in the desert, so we don't
Ah,
have water like that, but there's still
okay.
pretty areas of the desert
Yeah,
too that you can
yeah.
invest into. One of the things that I wanted to also ask you is, with your consulting business, kind of talk to us about what you do and how you what you do and how people can work with you on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that. Off my memory, I'm kind of shy on my memory because I do so much stuff during the day. So bear with that. But I have a model. It's called 357 Construction Advisory, and so it's more of a. It's not really consulting. It's more about advising, but and it's usually a smaller contract. It's really affordable contract type style. There's 4 different ways you can get involved, but there's basically 357. I've got 3 approaches, 5 fundamentals, and 7 prerequisites that build around 7 key areas of a business. Analyzing the market trends. It'll cover financial. Building good criteria for financial borrowing, credit lines, helping you learn how to build credit lines. Because if you own a business and you don't have credit lines, you can't get credit, and you don't want to
Mhm.
spend your money and your hard-earned cash money. So people just completely forget that. I can't tell you how many times I go in and talk to people and no, we don't have credit lines. I got a new customer this past week, and they've been in business for probably 15 years and they have no credit lines. So
Oh wow.
it's like you got to pull it all together, right? And so there's key areas. Um, and then all the others. So there's 7 key areas, and I send out a little document that just explains that what it is and where we work. And then as I come in and do a discovery, I first come in and with the client do a discovery meeting with them, and find out where where they think they've got a problem or issues, and or just need some help with, and then we'll start with that. And it usually falls into one of those 7 categories, and then I use my 357 model, and it's not the gun, by the way. It's just happened to be something I built out over the years. Uh, it it is really truly a great model. I stick with it, and it delivers results over and over and over. And it's more about learning where they're. And here's how it really focuses. It focuses on what lost production is costing, and it
Mhm.
makes that spread and that margin and that profitability bigger if they do what I'm asking them to do. And if they don't, I understand. Sometimes there's a cost to be able to get there, but
Mhm.
that cost is well worth the investment. So,
Exactly.
and I got a little saying, you probably read it if you didn't read it, uh, a service is not a cost, it's more of an investment, and you have to look at it that way. And so, like what you're doing right now, people have to look at you and say, you know what, you're worth the investment because it's
Mhm.
going to make the end of what we do, it's going to make a significant difference on my bottom line. And you got to excuse the expense and realize it's a true valued investment.
Yeah, I think that's so important. What people do a lot of times is they see a cost of
Yeah.
something, a service, or
Yeah.
sometimes advising and any of those types of things. They look at a fee, and they come to you because they know that they need something, but then they see your costs and they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, if I spend this." But the thing is, if you don't change, what is like, we're going back to the risk, right? What is the risk if
Yeah.
I don't make a change? And you can't just put like some things like talk about the manufacturing, for example. If you just put a Band-Aid on something, it's gonna show up in defects later on, and even in the construction,
Yeah.
like, if you don't do stuff the right way the first time, it'll show up as a defect, a failure, later on,
Yeah.
and so it's like putting that upfront cost up for making sure that you're actually doing your due diligence, especially, like, in the construction industry, in my, federal job, I deal a lot with BABA, like Build America, Buy America Act,
Mhm.
making sure that the construction,
Yep.
the
Yep.
materials, the stainless steel, like all of these types of things. And if you don't do things properly, if you're federally funded and you're not doing things properly,
Yeah.
your whole building can go away. Like your whole construction can stop. And so just doing the due diligence. And I think that working with an advisor or somebody like a consultant and helping them shine, guide you and shine the right path for you is
Yeah.
so important. I think it's amazing what you're doing, and I think it's, people need to really look at what you're doing and, utilize your services.
I think a lot of times when they look at cost, again, part of it is that affordability. Sometimes they can't afford it, uh, but there's a conversation could be had and work something out normally. And because we're all independent owners, we can make that work. And I say this, if the potential client is serious about what they're trying to accomplish, and you build a relationship, right? I'm not saying give it away and then try to get it back later, but also to just the experience of stepping out a little bit. It's a little scary, and but I will say this: people need to put a team around them. You need to put a good team around you, and you need to vet that team, and you need to hire and fire that team probably multiple times, because as you grow, and you need a good attorney or attorneys
Mhm.
and law firm, right? You can go from attorney to a law firm. It specializes in all different areas, and then you need a good accounting firm, and then you need a good consultant, and you need so on and so on. And so if you don't put those teams around you, and coaches, right? Independent personal coaches, if you don't put them around you, yes, it's expensive. I get it. But if you don't put them around you, uh, oh my gosh, the work is so much more harder.
Mhm.
I've been both sides of the track. And so uh, I've been blessed. I've had great people in my life, uh, spent some money and still do. So, encourage that. Back to
And
you.
if they wanted to work with you on this, what's the best website that they can, or what is best way to get a hold of you?
Well, it's my website. It's Merchant Commodities with an S .co, not .com, .co. And then my email is the best way. Check it all the time, every day. Live in it. It's Jeff at merchantcommodities.co. And Jeff is spelled Jeff.
Well,
So
I'll
that's the
definitely
easiest way. Yeah.
yeah, so I'll definitely have those links too in the show notes as well. And one of the things I wanted to talk to you or ask you, you love hot rods, and I was just like, you said you built one from the ground up. So what kind of hot rod is it? What's it look like? What color is it? Just love to know.
Well, I love red, so it's fire engine red. It's actually Porsche red. Beautiful. I bought the paint and specially painted. Uh, it's a 23T Roadster. I grew up watching a show called Sunset Strip, and Kooky had a little hot rod when I was probably 9 years old, 10 years old. And I fell in love with it. And I said, I'm going to own one of those or build one someday. And so at 51, I had the money to go out and buy parts and started building it. And so I built it from ground up. And I'm an old nostalgia guy. So it's got an old 1958 Etzel motor, big block Ford motor setting in it. And it's a lot of fun to drive. It's not a real big racer, but it'll get up and go. It's about 1,700 pounds and about 600 horse. So, given what I do to it, so it's all chromed up and fun and all that. It's loud and so we don't have radios in it or anything like that. It's open seat wheel and open wheel, and it's just fun. We got a little trailer. We go car shows and travel around, but I don't do too much of it anymore because of my health. I can't hardly get in and out of it, but we still have it, and we've probably had that thing. Oh my gosh! Oh well, 51. I'm 70, so you go do the math. I've had it a
Yeah,
long time. So,
19
but
years.
yep, and so it's sitting in my car trailer in storage right now, and so it'll come
Yeah,
out in the summertime. But
I love that. My dad's always been a car person. My husband and my son as
uh,
well. And so I remember one of my found memories when I was a kid with my dad. Like he had a 1963 Impala, and going to car shows. And right now he has a 1938 Master Deluxe. I think it's a 1938.
oh wow,
Yeah,
love it.
yeah.
Yeah, love it.
So I think it's pretty cool. As we wrap up, though, I always ask my guests this: what is a word, a phrase, a book, a quote, anything that you can think of, some type of thing that they can do
Mhm.
today, some type of action in order to help them refine and shine?
I wrote myself something when I was challenging back in my 30s. I was challenging with myself, and I sat down and I internally re-examined myself. And sometimes you know how we do, right? But I really examined myself, and I said, what is my problem, right? And you you always blame everything else outside, all the external things and even other people and other things. But I sit down and examine myself, and here's the answer: stop making excuses and be 100% responsible to yourself first and 100% responsible to others, and stop making excuses. And the complaints and all the BS goes away because you become right to be able to value right. And so that's my answer to it.
I think that's so powerful. I absolutely think that's amazing. I'm just thinking like, if we can't hold ourselves accountable or, got to show up for ourselves and make sure that, stop the excuses, stop the blame. So many times people want to stay in like the victim. Well, this happened
Yeah.
because this person or this person, like, what did I play a role in this? What did I do wrong? And how can I correct my behaviors, or how can I make sure that I'm doing my due diligence to show up as the best person that I can every single day? Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we think too much.
We do.
We have a tendency as humans to uh, like overthink everything. We dramatize everything, right? And you have to stop. You have to stop and be real with yourself. Your creator didn't want you to be that way. He wanted you to lean on him and bring it to him, and that's why he built us, just this way. Uh, but he's also great and passionate. He'll let us make those crazy mistakes every day as much as we want to make, right? And destroy ourselves. And so stop destroying ourselves and choose to do something different. But anyway, so I try my best not to make excuses. So if I do, you have the right and privilege to slap me if I do.
Well, I love that. And I just want to say thank you so much. I appreciate you having you on the show today.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, and I'll do it anytime. Have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Refine and Shine. We hope you find valuable insights and inspiration to fuel your journey of continuous improvement. Remember, the key to success lies in refining your processes and letting your inner brilliance shine. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Your feedback is greatly appreciated and helps us reach more listeners like you who are eager to refine and shine in all areas of life. Stay connected with us on social media for updates and additional resources and behind-the-scenes content. We love hearing from our listeners, so feel free to reach out with any suggestions, questions, or success stories you'd like to share. As we wrap up, remember that the power to transform your life lies within you. Keep striving for growth, embracing change, and seeking opportunities to refine your skills. Together, let's continue to shine bright and make a positive impact in the world. Until next time, keep refining and keep shining.